Today's the day. I'm recording part 2. I'm excited to record this part 2. I'm just waking up now. It's Sunday morning. Oh, hello, Nala. Hi. I know you want food. You want food? You want walk? Oh, good stretching. Oh, she literally goes, come on. Today is Sunday, April 21st, and today's the day that I'm recording my part 2, which is my 3rd YouTube video. Peter just left very early in the morning. It's like 6:30 a.m. He's going to visit a friend like 3 hours away who flew in for a wedding. And I have the house to myself. I have the time, I have the space, besides this whining little baby right here. Hi. Okay, so today's the day. I'm recording part 2, and it's just so interesting. Like, when you commit to a path, there are voices in your head that are gonna be like, no, you don't have to do this today. But then there's like the soul that's like, this is our freaking mission. Let's get at it, baby. I just wanted to like get on here and do a little vlog before I cut into the story, because I want to share a bit of like the journey that I'm going through of like also making this YouTube, because this is a action that I am taking that is so in alignment with my soul that it's so interesting for me to like share the behind the scenes of me recording and me doing this, because even though this is so in alignment and I'm so freaking excited to get on the mic today, there's still a voice in my head that's like, no, like just chill today. You don't need to do that. Which I don't like the word self-sabotage, because it's actually your ego trying to protect you from what it perceives as a threat. And while being on this journey of like being more conscious and more aware, you notice that voice instead of identify with it. You don't become it and just think, oh yeah, those thoughts are me, I'm going to believe them, and then I'm just not going to do the thing that I wanted to do today. No. We notice it, we become aware of it, and then you say, hey, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna do the damn thing today, and we're gonna show up as our highest state of being and embody that vibrant energy, that confidence, and that authenticity, and we're gonna do the damn thing. As if you're grabbing the hand of a child and walking them with you through the process, and they start to see, oh, this is actually pretty easy. Oh, actually, we want to be doing this. Actually, this feels really good. So I'm gonna bring you guys on like the journey of my morning, and then I'll cut into the second part of my story, and we'll finish it off, and we'll go into the whole subconscious healing journey. Oh my goodness, I am so freaking excited. So let's now get into the routine. Okay, bye. Turning some lights on, opening the windows. Look what we got, it's a microphone. I hope this audio sounds better. I got a vlogging microphone, look how legit. Let's now feed Nala. She's a spoiled dog and she gets homemade food. Chicken, rice, sweet potato, peas. We mix it with some kibble. Okay, here she is, very excited for food. You ready? You ready? She's like, come on, bitch. Eat the damn food. It's funny because we think that we like have all this resistance to show up and take the action that's aligned with our highest state of being, but then like once you do it, you realize that it actually helps you activate that energy even more, like once you're over that hurdle. So I want you to just take a little moment to think about what is the thing, the action that your soul is guiding you to take that feels scary and feels like, oh no, I don't know if I can do that, because that's the thing that's actually going to help you embody the energy of your actual true state of being, your authentic self. So I usually get pretty intuitive with what kind of movement that I do on Sundays, but I feel like I'm wanting to activate like a really deep level of resilience today, so that I have so much power when I'm recording and then editing and then posting this vlog. And I'm going to hop on this bike and get in the freaking zone for the day, baby. So let's do it. Let's go! You can do it! Your mind will tell you you can't, but you can! Oh, did it. Now I feel like I can freaking conquer the world today.
Okay, now I'm going to do my meditation, which if I was feeling any sort of like stagnant energy or anxiety or fear that I feel like I wanted to transmute and release, I would do the process that I posted in my last video, that 7-step process to transmuting emotions, but I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm gonna just jump right into a meditation where I am tuning into that highest version of myself, the truest version of myself. And I find that this allows me to access the vibrations of gratitude and love and joy within my heart. Then I access like a more authentic, true version of me, so that when I get in front of the mic, I am like freaking tapped in, ready to go, and feeling so excited to record. All right, here's the setup. We got the camera, we got the mic. We're ready to go, guys. Alrighty, here we go. Here we go. Part 2, baby. We in here. Oh God. Welcome in, guys. Welcome into part 2 of my story. Let me take a sip of my juice. Wow, I'm excited for this. Welcome back in to another beautiful episode of the Oath to Growth YouTube channel. Today, we are going to finish off the story that I was telling in the first episode, and I am going to dive deep into my subconscious healing journey because it has transformed my freaking life, and I'm just so excited to share with you guys what happens and also like the end of the story of like where I'm at now currently. I'm excited to tell this story because it's going to be a mirror for what is possible for you in your life when you turn inwards and do this healing work. It is truly transformational. So let's get into the story. Let's do a little recap. Where I left off on the last part was talking about how I had just moved to LA. I had lost my freelancing client and I was a free bird and I wanted to go all in on my coaching business. From there, I had a few weeks of really putting myself on this path of like, I'm going to freaking do it. I'm going to show up. And I had all these conscious desires of like, I have this business idea and I'm going to make this shit happen. Even though I had those conscious desires, I continuously was bumping up against internal resistance. And at the time, I had no awareness of the subconscious. I hadn't even gone through like my spiritual awakening yet, which I'll get to in this story. And I could not understand for the life of me why or how I could have so many conscious desires of like, okay, this is a desire that I have in my heart. Now I'm going to go make it happen. You see all these people online just going and doing it and making it happen. And I kept running up against self-sabotage, which I'll talk about in another video, is actually self-protection. I kept bumping up against resistance and fear and doubt that I was listening to. I kept bumping up against racing thoughts that were getting in the way of me actually taking the action. And what was manifesting on the surface of that was inconsistency, was putting out the energy of doubt, was an inability to actually attract aligned clients. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, I don't understand. I thought if you have a business idea and you just go and make it happen, you could just make it happen. And deep under the surface, now in hindsight, I understand that when you have a conscious desire, and usually a very heart-led desire, a deep soul desire, it is going to have, on the opposite, a subconscious limitation that is in direct opposition to that desire. And that is when you will find that you live in loops with trying to make something happen and it's not actually happening. That is when you'll find you are having a soul desire to do something, but then you go off on a totally different path while you know deep in your heart that there is another path that you're actually meant to go on. And there's like a lot of fear, a lot of resistance. So looking back, I had no awareness around that. But what was happening deep within my subconscious was I truly did not believe I was enough. I also had other subconscious beliefs about the fear of rejection, the fear of failure. So I wasn't even allowing myself to fully go in on it because of that potential failure that my ego or my mind was thinking was detrimental to my safety. I just noticed that my fly is open. So as I'm on this journey, I start to have the doubt creep in again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pick up another freelancing gig so that I can have the income and feel stable. And I'll also still be working on my business. So I ended up taking this contracting gig working at a media company. So I was like, okay, this is fine. Because if I want out, I'll just finish this project and then I'll be done. And while I'm working there again, I can feel my soul whispering like, okay, like make sure you don't forget about your mission. Make sure you don't forget about what it is that you're actually wanting to do. And that voice felt very uncomfortable for me to listen to, because deep down I kind of knew that I was straying off my path again. And working at that job, I was making a lot of money. My husband and I were new to LA, so we were going out. We were eating at the fancy restaurants. We were drinking all the fancy cocktails. We were going to the parties. And I found that I started to get like really disconnected from my mission again, because I started to distract myself and run from being in stillness with myself. I started to just disconnect from that connection with my soul. I started to, as soon as my laptop was closed on a Friday, I wanted to run to a restaurant and get a fancy cocktail. And I just wanted to find happiness in ways that were immediate and instant gratification. And there's nothing wrong with going out to a restaurant and having a fancy cocktail. I'm just saying that my intention and the consciousness behind it was me trying to make myself feel something that I didn't truly feel within. And that journey of me working as that freelancer and contracting for that company lasted, I would say, maybe like 2 or 3 months. And then the company asked me to come on full time. And I said yes, because I was not dedicating that time to my meditation practice and connecting to my stillness. I was so lost in the sauce of like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to make all this money and I'll find happiness in other places in my life. And I think that is so possible for some people. I think there are some people that live in this world that are so freaking happy with just like the ease and flow of their 9-to-5 job. And there is nothing wrong with that. But I know deep within my heart and soul that I came here with a freaking mission in my heart that I want to execute on and I want to live through. And it's a vision that I've had for a very long time. Like, since I actually started thinking about my future and my vision, it was to do this. Like, now I'm just living so freaking presently in the moment because I'm actually on the path where it feels really freaking good. And when I was at that job and I was disconnecting from that voice, I started to want to numb it and run from it. And you can imagine running from that voice within. There's a breaking point. And for me, it was my husband and I actually had gone to Colorado. We went to a Rufus Du Sol concert and we decided to take mushrooms, which I don't think I had ever taken in like a concert setting before. And oh my God, I had no awareness that it was going to bring up all of the shit that I was pushing down and ignoring for all of those months working at that corporate company. And it was straight in my face. Like, if anyone has ever done mushrooms or microdose before, you know that that is not an enjoyable experience if you have stuff within you that wants to be brought to the light. If you have thoughts, if you have things that you're pushing down, emotions, like that is going to come to the surface. So you can't just like take mushrooms and think you're going to have a great time if you're dealing with shit in life. And I didn't really understand this at the time. So I take the freaking mushrooms and next thing you know, I'm having racing thoughts and my soul is just like trying to communicate with me, telling me like, you're not on your right path. And I'm getting this whole movie in my head about how my soul is wanting me to take the step into the unknown. It's time to like go out of your comfort zone. It's time to do the thing. And my ego mind is like racing, thinking, oh my God, like I'm on the wrong life path. Like, what am I doing? And I had a terrible time at that concert. So Peter and I actually got on the bus to go back to our hotel. And I literally sat there. I said to Peter, I'm like, that's it. I am setting the intention. And I remember like having this little like communication with whatever higher power I thought I was communicating with, because I had yet to even go through my spiritual awakening at this point. I was like, that's it. I am putting myself on this path. I am listening to the callings of my soul and I am leaning into the unknown. And I literally set that intention with the universe at the time. And I didn't even know I was doing this of like, I'm ready. Let's freaking go. And what I was doing that I wasn't even realizing was setting the intention of, I'm ready to do this. So send me the people that are here to help me. Send me the books that are there to guide me. Send me the signs that I know are going to encourage me. And when you set that intention, it is so freaking important to trust the guides that come on your path. Trust that you're watching this video for a very specific reason. Trust the book that you just happen to feel so aligned with that you're feeling called to read is actually the exact book that you're meant to read. So from that moment, I shifted back into my remembering. It is so common when you're on this journey to oscillate from ego to soul, from remembering to forgetting. You'll go through a period of feeling so tapped into your power and then something triggers you and maybe you go into a forgetting phase of feeling emotions, and then you go into the transmutation process, or maybe you have a breaking point and you come back up into a remembering. And I'll make a whole video on this at one point because this is so important to understand. As you go down your journey and you get more conscious, more self-aware, you actually notice that those remembering and forgetting phases, where they used to last maybe literally for me 6 months at a time, now they're a day or a week or maybe even a month still. It depends on like what actually the trigger is or what the experience or the challenges that you're going through in life. Like obviously we're human and we're going to deal with hardship in life. So there are maybe going to be things that are more triggering that send you into deeper levels of like emotion and feeling, which is so freaking divine for your path. The forgetting is just as important as the remembering. So me going through this whole experience of getting back into the 9-to-5 life, that was me literally going through experiences that gave me so much more data and information that I then used for my path. So all of the chapters of forgetting are there to serve you. So if you feel like you're in a chapter of forgetting, know that this video is here to help you remember and that you are in that process of remembering already. Give yourself grace, have compassion, and know that every single thing is happening for a reason. This is all divine and it's all unfolding perfectly. So as you can tell, I was in a forgetting phase, but set the intention to remember again. So I started to lean into the books and reading about mindset work because I was recognizing that it was just my mind standing in my way, and I needed to get my mind out of the way and get my mind on board with this plan that I had. And I will never forget this moment. We had the book, The Untethered Soul, sitting in our house for, I think, ever since we had moved in, and his friend Sasha gave it to him. And I picked up that book and I was like, I'm feeling called to read this book. I go out to the beach because we lived near the beach, and Peter is actually with me, and we're sitting in folding beach chairs, and I was reading The Untethered Soul. I opened that book up and started to read that book on the beach. And when I tell you the spiritual awakening that I went through reading the first chapter of that book was such a pivotal part of my journey. That whole book is literally the freaking secret sauce to feeling and knowing in your heart that you are not the thoughts of the mind. You are the one observing them. And I started to read that book and literally felt an energetic shift in my body where all of a sudden I was disconnecting from the racing thoughts in my head, and I was connecting to this inner power within me that felt so freaking good. There is a feeling that you access when you start to live disconnected from the racing thoughts. You start to observe them. You start to enter into a deeper connection with the true essence of who you are. And people will say when you go through that satori, that spiritual awakening where you have that sudden shift in consciousness, you feel that feeling in such a deep way because the contrast of what you were feeling versus what you are feeling now is so black and white that shift is one of the most insane feelings that you'll ever experience. And from that place, you start to feel like you can go about life from a completely different energy. You start to think, oh my goodness, I actually do have the capabilities of creating my own reality. If I'm not these thoughts, then I'm the powerful observer of them and I can do whatever the heck I want to do. So from that place, I unlocked a really deep level of inner power where I started to really put myself out there in a way that I hadn't with my coaching. I remember I did a whole branding photo shoot and I started to feel so freaking good. I actually ended up attracting some really soul aligned clients with the health coaching, personal development coaching that I was doing at the time. And it felt so freaking incredible. I was just in this mode of like grooving with the universe. And I just want to add here that I truly feel so freaking lucky to have the partner that I have throughout this entire journey. And I know I'm sharing this now when I'm still in the story, but Peter has been one of the most supportive people to me on this path. He has been number one. And to have a partner that believes in your vision more than you even do at the time when you are clouded by doubt and fear is probably one of the most powerful things that you can have, because he held me with so much compassion when I was going through those dark nights. He held me with so much grace when I wasn't even believing in myself, when he could see the vision and I couldn't see it. He was so much of the reason that I was able to pick myself up again and really take action. He was the one behind the camera doing my branding photo shoot. I feel like I'm gonna cry because I'm just so grateful for him. Oh God. He's just like one of the most amazing humans, and I'm just so fucking lucky to have him as my husband. And I just adore the shit out of him. Like, I love him so much, and I'm just so grateful for him. And I was just thinking about how he was the one doing the photo shoots and like really supporting me throughout this whole thing. There's no words for how much gratitude I have in my heart for him. This man is a freaking angel sent from above, and I love him with all of my heart. It's just been incredible to have him by my side. So, okay, let's get back to the story. Okay. So from that place, I was feeling really confident. I was like, let's fucking go. I had my clients. And now that I had gone through this spiritual awakening, I was really in this conversation with the universe where I was like, okay, I'm going to trust every single thing that's sent into my path where I feel alignment and a pull to lean into. And I'm going to trust that this is guiding me and that this is here to help me. So I remember that there was this coach that would do these workshops like right next to my house. And she was a life coach and she would host these workshops, or she would like bring these packets with journal prompts and she would teach something and then we'd do the journal prompts together. And I remember one time she had a workshop that was strictly for entrepreneurs. So I go to this workshop and I end up sitting next to this girl who has the same name as me, and she also kind of looks like me. And she had this confidence and this energy to her that was so freaking magnetic. I went up to her and I'm like, I am just like so impressed by the way that you hold yourself and your confidence. Like, what have you done in your life to get you to this point? And she was like, oh my God, like it did not used to be like this. Like I've done a lot of inner work to get me here. And I used to be really anxious. And I was immediately connected to her from that point. I'm like, okay, whoa, this feels like a big mirror. The fact that you look like me, we have the same name, and I'm on this spiritual journey of like really trusting the guidance that is coming forward. So she ends up telling me that she does subconscious work and that she's a coach, and it was immediate connection, immediate magnetism. We were connected. I ended up going to this house in Venice that she was staying at, and we did an in-person healing session with all these different exercises. Now, mind you, I was not really tapped into the healing world up until this point. It was mostly mindset work and reading books and kind of like dabbling in the spiritual world of just like finding interest in manifestation and like woo-woo stuff and not really going into the actual healing aspect. So this session was so freaking powerful for me. We did all these practices of really getting out of my head and returning back into my body. And I ended up actually signing on with her in a 1-month container at the end of the session. So I went into a 4-week container with her where she was really acting as the mirror of the subconscious beliefs that were standing in the way of me really freaking owning myself. And it was a taste of self-work and healing work that transformed my life. For the first time, I was having someone mirror to me the subconscious perceptions that I was holding about myself without even realizing it. This is the power of subconscious work. You have programs and perceptions that you hold within your subconscious mind. You can think of this as the lens that you see reality through that isn't actually truth. It's just your perception. And when we have a conscious desire for something we want to do, or people we want to help, or a business we want to create, we can have a conscious desire that contradicts the way that we perceive ourselves or the world. And my life changed so freaking rapidly. On top of that, I was also reading Joe Dispenza's books. I was tapping into learning about the subconscious through the spiritual lens and learning about manifestation and learning about energy work. And I was in a freaking high. I was like, oh my God, this is the secret sauce to life. I feel so magnetic. I feel so myself. I am so conscious and aware of this part of me that feels fear, and I am loving the shit out of it. And I am dissolving these perceptions, and I'm sitting in these sessions where I am literally dissolving these limiting beliefs and limiting perceptions that I'm holding about myself. And I started to access an energy within me that felt so freaking good. On top of this, with my coaching, I started to bring in these teachings into my coaching container. I started to teach people about the manifestation work and just kind of dabbling in the subconscious and being a mirror to people the best way that I knew how to at the time, just because I wasn't as trained as I am now. And it is such a powerful process because my energy completely changed. And next thing you know, I literally hit my first 10K month in my business. And I was like, holy shit, this work is the freaking secret sauce to life. And I didn't even understand the depth of what I was doing at the time, but I was transmuting stuff, I was dissolving perceptions, and I was shifting into a completely new reality. Now, with that coach, she actually held these like monthly workshops, and she had this other coach come on and talk about subconscious healing in a way that really drew me in. And this coach was Sarah Zula. So as I sat on this workshop, I felt so connected to this woman. I had never met her before, had never seen her before, but I felt a connection. And I actually had finished working with Nikki, and then I was kind of just like doing my own thing. I think I had like 10 clients. I was teaching people the inner workings of like manifestation. Such a beautiful time to reminisce on, because the contrast of what I was dealing with just a few months prior to that was like, holy crap, this subconscious work and turning inwards clearly does something. And from that place, I wanted to go deeper into this subconscious work. I felt like I had just cracked the code in life and I wanted to go deeper. And I had set the intention with the universe, like, guide me, let me know where to go. I want to go deeper on this path. And next thing you know, I received this intuitive hit to look into Sarah Zula, the girl that had hosted the workshop from my other coach's workshop. And I see on her website that she coaches coaches to become certified in subconscious healing. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, Sarah, I'm just curious, when are you running your certification program? Because I'm very interested in joining. I'm a coach and I want to like strengthen my skill set so that I can help my clients also like access this level of power from subconscious healing. And she reached back out and said, oh, I unfortunately don't run that program anymore, but I am taking on one-on-one clients if you want to be a one-on-one client, and I can like mentor you while also coaching you. And I was very intrigued by this because I also wanted to go deeper in my journey, and it felt so aligned. Like her coming into my life and even Nikki coming into my life was such a path of alignment, and the universe granting me the exact souls that I was meant to learn from at that point in my journey. I think there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. I truly believe that, because every time I have leaned into signing on with a coach or reaching out for that guidance, my life changed. Like this moment of me reaching out to Sarah was a pivotal part in my life, the same way that meeting Nikki was a pivotal part in my life. Without me reaching out to Sarah at this point, I truly don't know where I would be right now. So I ended up telling her I would absolutely love to come on and be a client of yours. I told her, hey, look, I'm going to Burning Man. I would love to start when I come back from Burning Man just to have a fresh start. So I went off to Burning Man and I had the best freaking time at Burning Man. It was magical. And one of the most magical things happened to me at Burning Man. I got engaged, bish. And it was fucking incredible. My husband proposed to me while we were dancing alone at a camp that had no one there except us. And there just so happened to be a photographer there that he did not pay to be there. It was just fucking divine timing. And that whole week was just pure magic. We were just floating in our little love bubble and we were just having so much fun. And I came back and I knew that it was time to get to freaking work. So I ended up starting with Sarah. So for 6 months, every single week, we met for 1 hour where we dove into my subconscious, did subconscious healing, and then she would walk me through the processes that she would use on me and teach me how to do it on other people. And we dove freaking in. Like, the work that I did in those 6 months was me healing and dissolving any subconscious perceptions that prevented me from tapping into the wholeness of who I am and the pure essence of who I am. I thoroughly believe that who we truly are on a soul level is love, is abundance, is peace, is freedom. When you start doing the subconscious work and you start dissolving perceptions that keep you locked into fear, that keep you locked into not feeling enough, that keep you locked into feeling separate from one another, when you start doing that deep healing work, you start to access a feeling within that literally feels like you are on, I can't say the word because then I'll get freaking banned. It literally feels like that. So as I'm on this journey and I'm doing this deep healing work, I started to feel like I was floating through life. I started to access a level of peace and happiness in my life that I did not even know was possible. No longer was my happiness and peace dependent on anything happening outside of me. Cultivate that from within. The universe hears you when you set the intention of, I'm going to heal. It will bring shit up for you to release. I was healing some deep shit. We were going back into childhood memories that I did not even remember until I was sitting in the session. After that 6-month container, I felt high on life. My relationship was incredible. My business was doing incredible. I had clients where I was teaching them everything that I was learning. I was doing subconscious healing work. My freaking TikTok was blowing up, and things in life just felt amazing. I truly felt like I was living in a dream, and I still feel that way, but I'm just describing what was happening at this point in my life. So between that and now, there was still like a year and a half of me living in LA, and I was feeling freaking incredible. Like, I literally had never seen life feel and look so beautiful. I would walk out to the beach in the morning and I'm just like crying of happiness of like, what the fuck is life? Like, life just feels so freaking good. Fast forward to January 2023, I meet Bella, and we actually met up in person for the first time in LA. We got coffee. Her and I had connected on Instagram, and we decided that we wanted to co-create our first project together. So we posted our first virtual event, like a 2-day virtual event called Forge Your Own Path. It was fucking magical. I remember after that workshop, I literally bursted out in tears because I felt like I had broken through a ceiling of what I thought I was capable of doing. Like, and Peter, fucking God bless his heart, he literally got me the kindest gift after that event. One of my clients who wanted to become an artist, in our coaching container, we worked through a lot of the internal blocks of like what was preventing her from stepping into that chapter. And she went on to actually become an artist. And she became very successful, opened up her own studio in LA. She brought herself through this journey of unlocking her power that I was just so like honored to be able to witness. And at the end of the FYOP event, Peter literally bought me a piece of her art and had her come and drop it off. And I got to literally get handed a piece of her art after that event. And it was such a beautiful experience because she was thanking me for the work that we did together to help her get her to this point. And I was also able to receive this beautiful piece of art as a gift for what I just did in my career. And Bella and I actually went on to start our podcast together like 2 months later. And that was another freaking breakthrough moment. Like, I just kept breaking through these ceilings of what I thought was possible. And reality was reflecting all of the inner work that I continued to do on myself. Like, oop, I'm bumping up against a subconscious limitation right now. Like, let's dive into this work. Let's transmute it. Okay. Reality then reflects everything that I just did internally. And this is why I swear by this work, because it is so foundational for you to follow your soul's desires, or else you'll run up against resistance and self-sabotage, or you'll never actually take steps in the direction that you are quite literally here to do. Like, you have a mission in your heart. You wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't one of the people that held a specific mission that you were meant to complete in this lifetime. And I don't say this to entice anxiety, because you are already on your path. Even the path of misalignment is there to serve you, like how I was saying. But anyway, we went on to do the podcast, and I was just feeling like next level gratitude for life. And I started to get in touch with like, okay, I really want to like take my business to a new level. I was doing the coaching, I was posting online, but I wanted to be able to help people in a wider way. And my TikTok was doing really well at the time. I was growing my audience, and I was thinking, okay, like, I want to help this community in a bigger way. Like, obviously there's so many people out there that are wanting this knowledge, that are wanting this information. It is time to take things to another level. With that intention of expanding, I found myself kind of going back into the loops of like, oop, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can make an online course. I don't know if I can help more people than just my one-on-one clients. I don't know if I can expand past the limits that I'm already in. And it's so interesting to reflect on, because during those last few months of LA, I was doing the podcast, I was coaching clients, but I was really resisting stepping into that period of expansion because I knew the work that it would entail. And I was in a little bit of resistance of like, really sitting down and doing the expansion work that I know is involved with stepping into those higher timelines. So it was just so divine because my partner and I, we ended up thinking about investing in Airbnb properties. So we ended up buying these properties in Arizona, and we just thought that we would list them and not live in them. So come the summer of 2023, we are getting things ready for these Airbnbs. And we come here in the summer and we're setting up the houses, we're setting up the furniture. Our dear friend Victoria helped us with all the interior design, and she helped us also build all the furniture and set up the houses. And when the houses are set up, Victoria goes home and Peter and I are in these homes, and we are in a little area right outside of Sedona. And the energy here is something else. So we are living in these homes, and we're meant to go back to LA to live in LA, and we set the homes up. It's time to leave, and we don't want to leave. We don't want to leave. We want to stay here. And we find that we're loving the peace and we're loving the quiet, and the energy is so freaking magnetic here. And we actually ended up elongating the time that we were going to spend here in the summer, and we ended up staying 3 weeks in Arizona. And mind you, it was during the peak of summer when it's 115 degrees here, and we still were so drawn to being here. And we were out to dinner one night within those 3 weeks, and we brought a pen and paper because we wanted to write down all the pros and cons of moving out to Arizona. And we sat down and we made a list while we ate our burgers. And I remember just saying to him, I feel like I could see myself living here for however long or whatever this chapter is that we're stepping into. And he was like, I really do too. Like, I'm really ready for some stillness and some peace. And I said to him, I was like, I feel like this is where I can really take things to another level with my business and with this mission that I have. And he also agreed that he was just ready to live a different lifestyle. So fast forward, we are moving to Arizona. The courtyard is filled with boxes and we are on our freaking way. And when we got here, I actually had a little bit of like resistance of being here at first, thinking, oh my God, did we make the right decision? And I was like, I'm very conscious that I'm just dealing with change and my ego is like screaming to just be in the familiar. So I held myself with grace as I was going through that transition, because our bodies had to adjust to not having the chaos around, not having the instant gratification every single place you go. And we were waking up and just having like stillness, quiet. And the town that we live in is like we are definitely the younger generation that live here. Let's just put it that way. And my time here has been insane in the best way possible. And ever since moving here, I had set that intention that I am going to go big with my business, and I am going to help more people, and I am going to make an even bigger impact and serve in a way that feels even scarier. So when I set that intention, I was brought on a journey of really understanding how to embody my truest self. Because if I have that vision, that's who I truly am. And I'm going to start showing up as that person in my now. This is no longer a game of thinking that there is something out in the future. I have been dedicated to choosing to tune in to that me in the present moment. I am choosing to wake up every single day and align myself with that timeline in my now. And when I tell you, I don't feel like I'm chasing something, I don't feel like I'm after anything, there is no longer a gap between where I think I need to be and where I am now. I am just being. I am just there. I am just already experiencing the confidence and the joy and the abundance that is this highest state of being. And this deep embodiment journey has been next freaking level for me. The things that I'm seeing manifest in my reality, the opportunities, the clients, the people, like things are getting freaking real. Being in Arizona has also granted me this like really deep knowing of my mission. Now that I have all this knowledge on like cultivating inner peace, dissolving your subconscious limitations, doing the inner work, the healing work, but also following the callings of your soul and leaning up against that resistance and learning the soul lessons. All of this work that I have been through on my own journey has brought me to an understanding on such a deep level of what it is my mission is. I am here to help you close the gap between your desired reality and where you are now by utilizing all of this spiritual knowledge, all of this healing knowledge, all of this subconscious work, and you and I are going to go on a freaking journey together. So buckle the F up. I am so freaking excited that you're here. Thank you so much for watching this. I also want to hear what resonated with you guys, so definitely feel free to share your comments and your thoughts below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next episode. Bye bye. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for doing this work.